You know, at this point, I feel like we've all heard about the De'Aaron Fox trade rumors. The popular name and popular trade target lately have been Jimmy Butler, but during the past 48 hours now, post-Shams Charania report about De'Aaron Fox maybe wanting to be traded, that Sacramento might be willing to trade him, and that there's only one team that Fox wants to be traded to, it's really been all about him. And according to reports, that team does not in fact happen to be the Los Angeles Lakers.
One thing I can say with Rich Paul, we know he's got LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the Lakers. I'm told the Lakers are not part of that destination of choice for De'Aaron Fox potentially, but he is now potentially entering the NBA's trade market.
He does not want to come here. Apparently, he would now sign a new long-term contract with them. And the only team that he does want to go to happens to be the San Antonio Spurs with Victor Wembanyama. And while that might be unfortunate if you are a Laker fan and you wanted De'Aaron Fox, hate to break it to you, but they likely won't be trading for him and he doesn't really want to come here to begin with. It's not all bad here. They actually could benefit from it. No, not directly from getting De'Aaron Fox, but potentially from the trade itself, which might end up being a 3, 4, or even 5 team kind of trade, and whenever that trade tends to happen, it does affect the entire NBA world. Not simply the 2 teams that benefit the most from it or think they'll benefit the most from it, but really the entire NBA world and the trade market itself, maybe the buyout market, and a bunch of other players that are involved with the trade. And with that being said here, how could the Lakers benefit from a De'Aaron Fox trade? Again, obviously no, not directly from De'Aaron Fox, they won't be getting him, but maybe from a player that's left over from the trade, a player that's traded to a undesirable and unfamiliar situation, whether they trade for that player or maybe get that player off the buyout market, that could be an option for them, and we'll explore that during today's video. But before we get too far into it, let's go over our game day picks with Underdog Fantasy, the best way to get in on the NBA action this season. And if you're a new sign-up, you can pick Victor Wembanyama to have higher than 0.5 points tomorrow night. So yeah, take advantage of that free pick. But then for my picks, for pick number 1, I got Austin Reeves having higher than 7.5 assists. Washington gives up the most points per game to their opponent and the 3rd most assists per game, so he'll have plenty of opportunity to get that. Then for pick number 2, I got Max Christie grabbing higher than 0.5 rebounds during the first quarter. He's now had at least 1 in 5 straight games, so I think he will again tonight. Then for my 3rd pick, I got former Laker Kyle Kuzma having higher than 6.5 rebounds. He grabbed 9 against them the last time they played, so I think he will get 7 or more tonight. Then for my 4th and final pick, I got Toumani Camara having higher than 5.5 rebounds. And the good thing about this play is that you only have to get 3 out of the 4 right and you can still win. So if you want to follow along with me or make your own picks, then be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy, and don't forget to use code JSM to get your free pick, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make a deposit. But now getting back to our topic, and with a potential De'Aaron Fox trade, many have wondered about what might be left over on the Sacramento Kings post that trade, and might they be willing to trade a guy like Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, or maybe any of them or all of them? Definitely interesting, but according to reports, they do intend on trying to compete even if they do trade away De'Aaron Fox, so that might rule out a bunch of them. And the only way they would probably become available is if they're included in that trade and get sent to a team that's not really trying to compete, aka being sent to a team like the Charlotte Hornets, taking on that salary to make the trade work, and that would probably be the only way that would happen. And don't get me wrong, I definitely love for that to happen, especially for a guy like Malik Monk, for example, former Laker Malik Monk. Definitely could address some of their backcourt ball handling concerns. Monk has actually become a really good playmaker lately, believe it or not. Currently this season averaging a career high 5.8 assists per game to only 2 turnovers per game, nearly a 3 assists to 1 turnover ratio. Pretty damn impressive. Last season even averaging about 5.1 assists per game, this season before that one 3.9, so he's continuously getting better over time, and kind of can play that point guard role for a team. And for a team like the Lakers, they need a little bit more of that. They get a lot of it obviously from LeBron and Austin Reeves, but then off the bench don't get much of it. A little bit from Gabe Vincent here and there, who is currently hurt, but Malik Monk would definitely be a big upgrade for them. But again, barring the Kings entering a rebuild post De'Aaron Fox trade, which does not appear very likely, they don't want to go back to that wasteland and the playoff drought about 20 years that took them to get out of. They don't really want to go back to that, so unless they would trade Malik Monk to a 3rd team again like the Charlotte Hornets, Washington Wizards, or whatever rebuilding team it might be, he probably won't be available, unfortunately. And that will be the same case for guys like Domantas Sabonis. I mean, maybe they would move him, but probably not, and I don't think I'd even want to trade for him. That's a pretty big contract for a guy that's fairly limited in a few areas. I don't think he'd be the best fit for their team, probably couldn't really pair him effectively on defense with Anthony Davis, and not a guy that I really want long term at that contract. Same with DeMar DeRozan, now 35 years old and definitely declining. Not a good fit for their team in my opinion, and not worth that contract to trade for. And for other guys in their team, I mean, maybe slight interest in Kevin Huerter, but not really for that salary. Keegan Murray won't be available, or very likely not. Trey Lyles might have slight interest, pretty good 3-point shooter, decent power forward, 3D stretch guy, but overall not a ton of interest there or anyone else in their team besides Malik Monk. And with that in mind here, I think we actually have to predict what team that De'Aaron Fox will be traded to, and according to reports again, that would appear to be the San Antonio Spurs. And if that would happen, there might be a couple of guys that become available from their team via a trade to a different team or potentially the buyout market. And one guy that many are speculating could be available could be a guy like Chris Paul. If he would be a part of that trade and include as salary filler with that trade, getting sent to a rebuilding team and probably working on a contract buyout with them thereafter, he could then become a free agent and sign with any team that he wants to. And while that team may or may not be the Lakers, they might not be the top pick for him, but he definitely could think about them, and I think he would think about them too. Obviously, the connection between him and LeBron James, they're good friends, they go back a long time and have wanted to play together for a long time. That would be an automatic connection you could point to. And then again, what the Lakers need for a point guard, it would be coming off the bench, which he might not like, but they would have a fairly large role to offer him coming off the bench, and with that veteran leadership off the bench and simply reliability at backup point guard, backup playmaking duties, and probably given a lot of minutes in that kind of role, maybe he'd think about it. And while he might be 39 years old, he's actually having a really good year, averaging about 9.5 points per game, 8.2 assists per game to only 1.6 turnovers per game, about a 4 assist to turnover ratio, shooting 36.4% from 3, 42% from the field, and playing really well for a 39-year-old despite some injury concerns in the past with him. He's actually been really healthy this season, and I'd be willing to take that risk on him, especially for only a veteran minimum contract. Yes, the Lakers will have to waive somebody to make that happen, but with a guy like Christian Wood appearing to never get healthy, that would be a pretty easy pick for them to make, and I'd be willing to make that move for a guy like Chris Paul. And yes, they would be allowed to sign CP3 off the buyout market. They might be a first apron team, and that does restrict them from signing a player making 12.9 or more million per year, but luckily for them, CP3 is making 10.4 million this season, and that would allow them to sign him and not be restricted against it, therefore making it a pretty good move for them in my opinion. But apart from CP3, I could see guys like Harrison Barnes and or Zach Collins being traded to a third team as salary filler, therefore being available for another trade after that one, or maybe hitting the buyout market. But the Lakers would not be able to sign them through the buyout market, being restricted from that $12.9 million limit, and they're both making above that amount, so they would not be allowed to sign them. And apart from those two, maybe Keldon Johnson could be traded and become available after that, but not very likely. Maybe a guy like Trey Jones, but I think I'd rather go for CP3 after he would hit the buyout market, and that's probably the only realistic target here in my opinion. With all of that being said though, a De'Aaron Fox trade definitely could benefit a team like the Lakers, maybe not directly through De'Aaron Fox, but definitely indirectly from the trade market, and maybe other guys hitting the buyout market, a guy like CP3 for example. I definitely would like a guy like Malik Monk to become available, either from the Sacramento Kings or being traded to a different team, but in general, the point here is that a big trade affects the entire trade market and therefore the entire NBA landscape. And if you're smart about navigating it, you definitely can benefit from it. Either from another trade after that one, maybe from the open market, or whatever it might be, you can benefit from it. But with that being said, what do you guys think? How do you think the Lakers might be able to, or will benefit from a De'Aaron Fox trade? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.